of the individual hearing. If the judge is not ready to make a decision, if he or she wants to review all the documents or review your case, they may reset it for the decision.
معظم الأحيان القاضي بيعطي القرار في نفس اليوم في هذيك الجلسة. مرات تانية ممكن بده وقت إنه حتى يراجع الملف، أو ممكن يطلب وثائق ثانية أو يطلب شهود، فيقول لك أوكي إحنا نعطيك القرار بعدين.
So the decision can be appealed. It can be appealed by you if you do not agree with the judge's decision. It can also be appealed by the U.S. government if the U.S. government disagrees with the decision of the immigration judge.
قرار القاضي ممكن تستأنفه. مثلا القاضي قرر إنه يعطيك إنه يرفض اللجوء، ممكن إنك تقدم طلب استئناف. ممكن القاضي كمان يوافق على طلب اللجوء. الحكومة الأمريكية أو مدعي العام تبع الحكومة الأمريكية يقول لك لا إحنا هذا ما بدنا نعطي لجوء، برضه هو يقدم طلب استئناف.
Okay, so that is pretty much what defensive asylum application entails.
هذا هو طلب اللجوء الدفاعي.
And the hearings in the immigration court, that kind of covers all the bases.
بالضبط، يعني الشغلات الأساسية في محكمة الهجرة.
On the next 2 pages, I have information about 2 other.
You talk about 3 types of asylum, and if I was really concentrating, I think you talk about 2 only.
That's a good point, right? Because we drifted towards the defensive asylum.
So if the other one is not concerning their cases, that's fine.
So I'm not going to spend much time on the affirmative asylum application because again, most of them are going to be defensive.
Case, that's fine.
So the third type of an asylum application is the merits interview with the positive credible fear determination.
هذا النوع الثالث اللي هي مقابلة، وإنه يعني عندك خوف صادق من يقرروا حتى إنه عندك خوف فعلا من العودة لبلدك.
If any one of you had a credible fear interview when you were crossing the border with an asylum officer and they made a positive credible fear interview, then the process is a little different. But I presume nobody is probably in that situation.
نوع اللجوء هذا لما دخلتوا البلد إذا عملوا معاكم مقابلة ودخلوا بالتفاصيل، بس هي بتعتقد إنه ولا واحد فيكم صار عنده هذا النوع من اللجوء. فما فيش داعي للنقاش.
Because you would have been informed that is your process. In that case, you don't need to file the I-589 application. There is another interview set up with the asylum officer, and the asylum officer ultimately determines whether to grant the asylum or not. If the asylum is not granted, then the person is placed in the removal proceedings, and then we're back to the defensive asylum application.
إجراء آخر بعديها ببعتوك على مقابلة
Okay,
ثانية.
let's just keep it and try to read the time.
Okay, so next, something that's probably important for everyone, application for employment authorization.
Oh, that's the most
So
important.
what do we do?
هذا طلب الحصول على كرت العمل أو إذن العمل.
Okay, just like a lot of things in the immigration law world, it entails a form. And once again, you can find that form on the website of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service.
هذا الطلب برضه موجود على موقع دائرة الهجرة.
Okay, so it's form I-765.
اللي هو اسم الملف I-765، هذا اسم الطلب.
So if you are applying based on the fact that you filed your asylum application, you will be filing under category C8. That will be your answer to question 27 of that application.
So they file it right away or after?
No, they
the
have
asylum?
to, so you have to wait 150 days after you submitted your application for asylum.
لازم تنتظر 150 يوم بعد تقديم طلب اللجوء حتى تقدم طلب إذن العمل.
Okay. So if you are filing that application for asylum with the court, whenever the court received your application, that's when your time starts ticking.
لما أنت تقدم طلبك مع المحكمة، تاريخ استلام المحكمة لطلبك من ساعتها بتبدأ تعد الساعة لل 150 يوم.
There is a thing called employment authorization clock.
شغلة
EAD
اسمها
clock.
ساعة إذن العمل.
And if you call the 1-800 number that we gave to you on page 1.
رقم الهاتف اللي على الصفحة الأولى.
If you are checking the system, one of the options that the telephone system is going to give you is to check the status of your case. And
واحد من الاختيارات لما تكلم هذا الرقم حيعطيك شو وضع ملفك وين وصلنا يعني.
and it will tell you how many days have passed since you filed your asylum
وكم
application.
يوم مضى من تاريخ تقديمك لطلب اللجوء.
Okay, so once you pass that 150 days, you can file this application.
متى ما تعديت ال 150 يوم ممكن انك تقدم طلب اذن العمل.
You can also ask for a social security number to be issued.
وممكن انك تطلب رقم الضمان الاجتماعي مع كرت العمل مع اذن العمل.
That is also checked on that form, on the
على نفس
application
الطلب
for
ممكن انك
employment
تطلب رقم
authorization.
الضمان الاجتماعي.
There is no filing fee for your initial employment authorization.
اول طلب اذن العمل ما عليه رسوم، ما بتدفع رسوم.
I provided the address where you mail that application. Once again, this is for those who live in Louisiana. If your address is different, you need to check the instructions.
هذا العنوان للي موجودين عايشين في ولاية لويزيانا فين يبعثوا طلب إذن العمل.
Okay, so if something is different, then you need to send it to the service center that's on the instructions for the employment authorization. Okay. So, and usually the employment authorization should be issued after you have 180 days accumulated on your clock. After 180 days have passed since you filed your application.
Which
The asylum application. The asylum
إنه
application.
بعد 180 يوم من تاريخ تقديمك طلب اللجوء يبعثوا لك طلب كرت العمل إذن العمل. So they'll have time, like after 150 days, they'll submit it.
Yes, they can
30
submit it
days.
even after 150 days. They can submit it at 160, 180.
The minimum.
It's just the earliest that they can
The
submit it.
Is
Is
100. No, but I
150 days.
mean, because you're saying they'll send it after
Well,
180
because
days.
by law, the USCIS cannot approve the employment authorization document until at least 180 days have passed. So you can
okay.
file it when,
At 150.
after
150,
150,
but they have
but the
to issue it.
approval, right, the approval
But
cannot.
it could take longer.
It can take longer, but actually right now they are pretty good with processing these the initial applications in
Okay.
about 4 weeks.
Oh, okay. إنه أنت بتقدم طلب اللجوء بعد 150 يوم بتعد 150 يوم أو بتكلم الرقم بيقول لك أوكي مضى 150 يوم بتقدم طلب إذن العمل. دائرة الهجرة مجبرة إنه بعد لما يمضى 180 يوم من تقديم طلب اللجوء إنهم يعطوك إذن العمل. وبتحكي هي بالعادة أول طلب هم سريعين بإنه بإصداره.
I'm sorry, but I have to clarify a point here. So when the clock started exactly, is it when you only file the application or when you receive a letter from either the immigration court or the USCIS office?
Say that
When you
received it.
filed the application, well, okay,
Regardless
if you filed it with the USCIS,
Mhm.
you will get a letter back confirming the receipt of the application, and the notice will say when the application
When the
was received.
application was
Okay.
received.
And
So
for the
this is-
immigration court?
For the
It's
immigration court, same thing. First of all, they will clock it into the system.
Mhm.
Okay, so the system should state that your asylum application was received on such and such a date. Usually what I do, what a good practice is, if I file it at the window, I ask for my copy of the asylum application to be clocked to show this is the date when I filed it. If I'm filing it with another court and I'm mailing it, I'm providing an extra copy to the court, asking to return it back to me with the stamp to show when the application was filed. And that's my evidence that this is when the court received my application.
إذا أنت بتقدم طلب اللجوء مع دائرة الهجرة رح يبعثوا لك وصل استلام ورح يكون عليه تاريخ استلام الطلب. تبلش تعد 150 يوم من هذا التاريخ. إذا قدمت طلبك مع محكمة اللجوء محكمة الهجرة هيحطوا لك تاريخ هيطبع لك يعني تعمل نسختين نسخة تقدمها الثانية يختم لك إياها بتاريخ استلام الطلب وبتبلش بتعد بالأيام من هذا. إذا بعتها بالبريد ابعت نسخة ثانية أو المحامي ببعت نسخة ثانية مشان المحكمة تقول له اوكي هذا تاريخ استلام الطلب ويرجعوا لك اياه مشان تبلش تعد بالايام.
Yeah.
And
Before we move, in case, like by any chance, during those 180 days after the application, or during this period of time, any person gets his application processed and he interviewed by the USCIS or even the CAR, what the case will be. So will the clock be stopped at that point?
No, the clock will not be stopped at that point. The only time the clock is stopped is when you cause a delay in the process. Causing a delay in the process means you have a court date or the judge is giving you a specific date for an individual hearing, for example, and you're asking for a different date. If you are asking to move the case from one court to another, that's considered a delay in the process, so the clock is stopped. So if you are asking to consolidate cases, to put them together with their family members, for example, that's also considered slowing down the process, delaying the process, so they will stop the clock in that case.
الساعة تكون مستمرة من تاريخ استلام الطلب، من تاريخ دائرة الهجرة أو محكمة الهجرة ما استلمت الطلب. الوقت الوحيد الساعة رح توقف، مثلا سأل سؤال أخ إنه لنفرض مثلا محكمة أنت قدمت الطلب مضى 75 يوم وبعتوا وراك قال لك أوكي أنت عندك موعد مقابلة في المحكمة جلسة الوراق. الساعة رح تستمر بالعد، أوكي؟ الوقت الوحيد اللي الساعة رح توقف العد إذا أنت كنت سبب بالتأخير. مثلا القاضي قال لك أوكي أنت عندك محكمة ب 20 ديسمبر وأنت ما رحت على المحكمة، أو طلب منك أوراق ما سلمتها، أو أنت طلبت تعديلات، أو أي إشي أنت كنت سبب تأخير الإجراءات، ساعتها توقف الساعة العد، توقف عن العد ال 150 يوم. Does it resume?
You can ask, again, it's on case-by-case basis. Yes, you can ask the court administrator usually to resume.
ممكن إنك تطلب إنه الساعة ترجع تعد من جديد، بس هذا بيعتمد كل واحد حسب قضيته يعني.
So, and just to go back to your previous question about when does the time start running. So again, it starts running when either the USCIS or the court, wherever you file it, receives your application, not when you send it. And with the USCIS, because sometimes they have, and actually in the beginning of the year, they had very significant delays with issuing notices. So let's say I filed it in April, 2 months go by, I still haven't received the notice. When the notice is eventually issued by the USCIS, it will still tell you that it was received back in April. So they may issue the notice in August, 4 months later, because again, they were backlogged, but it will still tell me the date when they actually received it from me.
That's very good.
Okay.
تاريخ الساعة تبلش العد من تاريخ دائرة الهجرة أو محكمة الهجرة ما استلموا الطلب. هلا بالعادة بتقول لك في أول السنة أحيانا بتكونوا متأخرين هم دائرة الهجرة بتكونوا مضغوطين. فممكن احتمال تحكي لك نفرض مثلا أنت قدمت الطلب بشهر 4 5 6 مرقوا ما استلمت الورقة، ممكن لشهر 8 لتستلم الوصل. بس مفروض يكون عليها التاريخ اللي لما انت بعت الطلب مثلا لانه استلموه بشهر 4.
Okay, so there is a little snippet of information at the bottom of the page for those who were paroled into the United States and they have an I-94 card issued to them and it says paroled until a specific date. Those people with the parole can apply for an employment authorization right away. It's a different category. It's C11 category.
هلا في اشخاص ثانيين دخلوا اعطوهم كرت اسمه I-94 لما بدخل بيقول لك parole يعني زي تقريبا مسموح او تحت المراقبه او العبور هذول فورا ممكن انهم يقدموا طلب اذن العمل.
So, and again, the information is right there as well if that is your case, if you have
إذا
a
أنت
parole.
أعطوكم مثل هذا الكرت هون هذا العنوان اللي ممكن إنك تبعت الطلب عليه.
Unfortunately,
C11, right?
C11. C11. There is a filing fee that has to be paid. It's $410. You can request a waiver of that fee. There is a separate form for the fee waiver. And again, I provided the address where that application
إذا
can
حدا
be
اللي
filed.
ساكن بلويزيانا ممكن يبعت هذاك الطلب وممكن إنك تطلب إعفاء من الرسوم يعني.
Okay, so That kind of wraps up, I think, all of the information that's relevant to a majority of the people in the current situation. So on the last page, I provided free English classes information if somebody is interested, because there are some resources in the city that are available.
هاي دروس للغة الإنجليزية مجانا.
Okay, so there is Delgado Community College that provides English as a second language classes. Then Catholic Charities of New Orleans provide free English classes. You can find all that information online. Also, Catholic Charities provide some other services if you qualify. Again, you can check out their website and see
Actually, they charge a lot.
Do they charge?
The charities, not anymore. They charge.
Because I think English is still.
I don't know about the
classes
English,
is
but like
still-
other services.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I have one guy that works for them, and he comes and gets things translated by me. They're
They-
starting to charge.
Wow. Okay. So.
بس كلية دلغادو هاي بتعطي دروس مجانية بالإنجليزي.
And also, speaking of any free services, all of you in your packets that you received when you entered the United States, you should have been provided a list of free legal services. Again, because there is more demand than actually people offering it. They're very selective as to who qualifies, but it's always worth checking if somebody can represent you for your
الأوراق اللي أعطيتكم إياها لائحة بأسماء الخدمات القانونية المجانية اللي ممكن تحصلوا عليها، بس لأنه كمان برضه هم مضغوطين فاحتمال مش الكل يقدر ياخذ الخدمات المجانية الموجودة.
We have a question about this particularly, but and I think I sent it among the question I wrote to Mr. Shawat to you, and we will have a question about that, whether it has any effect on the applicant himself. If he tried to benefit from those federal programs, does that will affect his eligibility in a way or another to get
No.
the right of asylum?
No, well, first of all, typically you're not eligible for any need-based federal programs anyway, like SNAP benefits, any housing assistance, they're just not gonna be approved. So, any other assistance from community organizations? No. So, and typically the question is, if a person actually provided fraudulent information when they applied for benefits, okay? So, and I'm sure nobody will try to do that.
Okay.
So there is a potential question, let's say if somebody has an asylum approved, 1 year after the grant of asylum, they can apply for permanent residence, for the green card, and there is a question for the adjustment of status, that would be the proper term. On the application for the adjustment of status, there is a question if a person has ever received benefits. Now, asylees are eligible for certain benefits. Again, the law allows it, the law provides for it, so that does not really go against a person if they receive benefits that they're eligible for. So
Good.
that's.
So في بتوفر
I'm sorry,
No, it's okay. I actually understand that program. So في خدمات مجانية من المجتمع، اوكي، وفي خدمات مجانية من الحكومة الفيدرالية. الخدمات المتوفرة من الحكومة الفيدرالية إذا أخذت اللجوء وتم الموافقة عليه، لك الحق إنك تعبي على هاي الخدمات المجانية من الحكومة الفيدرالية، مثل طوابع للطعام، خدمات الصحة، هاي لك الحق إنك تعبي فيها لأنه أنت ماخذ اللجوء. أوكي، هلا مثلا اللي أخذوا عن طريق الزواج هدول بيكون عندهم كفالة، ممنوع إنه يعبوا على الخدمات الفيدرالية المجانية. ما بيأثر أي إشي على طلباتكم، بعدين طلبات أي طلبات قدموها لدائرة الهجرة، كونك أنت لاجئ الخدمات الفيدرالية ما بتأثر عليك ما دام أنت لما قدمت هاي الطلبات ما كذبت، ما أعطيت أوراق مزورة، يعني كل أوراقك صحيحة وسليمة. الخدمات المجانية اللي من المجتمع مثلا من الكنائس، من الجامعة، من الأصدقاء اللي حولك، هاي ما بتأثرش عليك شو ما كان وضعك في أمريكا.
Okay, so I will go through the questions. Apparently that was one of the questions on your list.
Yeah.
So, and I think we kind of went through most of the questions.
Yeah, the most like very serious issue that we have, and I don't know if you have ever heard or seen it before, that we have one of our brothers next to me. This guy has gets out without any document, literally.
I have never seen that happen.
Me too. So what happened is that when he get to the border, he has a medical
Emergency,
conditions that make them just call the emergency and the hospital to come and take him and take care of him. During that time, he just from the hospital get his ticket and just fly, and he didn't pass by. I don't know. I will ask him again and see more details about the story exactly. But the conclusion is that he is here with us, and he has no document literally.
Does he
And
have a
Canada.
passport, or did they take his passport?
Okay, let me ask him. Passport Canada. Yes, he has his passport.
He has his passport.
قلنا اللي يخرج بالضبط ده شيء.
أنا اللي
So I'm trying to for him to retell the story exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
حاول شوي
حالي شوي.
أنا ما نبغى نقول الفوق شنو
هو ما بعطيك جوجل ده خليه قد خليه والله خليه هون قد يعني ها تفضل.
هذا سويت شوي الأصلين أعطاه الجائي وشرط التركة كاملين وأنا مش ورقة قصة طلبته عدت لي عملية كذا بشكل طبيعي هو أنا عندي باسبور عندي كامل ما عندي مشكلة مشاوني يعني ما اتصلت ما عندي لا توقف الطلب خلاص ما مشي
بس من حال مشيت من المطار
مشيت الكردون ما عندهم هذه الإجراءات الأولية اللي والتليفون الجهاز مشات لي
لو انقطع التذكرة في المطار مسؤول عن
Okay, all right.
حتى عندما بقوا معايا مش طابق الجوال
اوكي معناه ان المطار ما يسوي له عن تاع
بس قبل تصوير يخلصوا
سو خليها شكرا
قانونية انت بالنسبة لنفس السياسة انا اصلا الحياة يعني كنت
قالوا
شو
له يقيس ادارته
الوقت اللي هو منه عالج ولا كامل عندك باسبور قدرات كامل
يقيس دشرة اللي يعود فيها يعني
ليش ما تقيس فيها مشي شرطات
Okay.
أصلا ما قالوا
Okay. So I'm sorry about that. So what happened is that when he arrived there to the border, he has a medical condition that prevents him from passing by the normal process of the immigration at the border. So he has been taken to the hospital, and from the hospital, he just when he feels better, he just get out from the hospital and travel on his passport. He gets a ticket, go to the airport, and take a flight to this city, to the address he is already going to. So that's what happened. He didn't give any fingerprint. He didn't speak or interviewed by any member of the ICE or the border protection. So he wants to know where he should start because he actually has not started yet.
Okay.
So what do you think?
So I would just file an application for asylum with the USCIS. So that would be
The best.
the best thing to do. So what entry point did he come through? What
تجي من
What crossing?
كاليفورنيا مع المكسيك.
أنت مع نجي شباب
Yeah, the Mexican border with the side of California.
okay?
Yeah.
San Isidro, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure about the place
Okay.
exactly. كم حد يعرف اسمه؟
شنو؟
Bleeder building. San Diego.
San Diego. Okay. So again, if that's what he planned, if that was the intent that he planned on seeking some type of protection, asylum protection, I would just go ahead.
He has been. He didn't do that only because of
Of the medical condition.
Yeah,
So
medical.
because again, technically the time of entry can be determined by his medical documents because he probably either
Yes.
has some release from the hospital.
Yes,
So
he has that document.
and again, because he doesn't have an NTA issued to him, I would just prepare an application for asylum, file it with the USCIS, with the Texas Service Center, and that would start his process.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Can he get married?
It's gonna be a different process because he was not admitted, he was not paroled, so
السبب اللي كان عندك
Is it all of them or just him?
if somebody was paroled, then yes, they can. So it will be different, right? If they entered without parole and inspections, well, yes, they can get married, but the process is going to be different. Ultimately, they have to get their, well, go to the court, and then they will have to go through the consular process, and they will have to leave the
Oh, they have to go back to the
So, because again, the premise for adjustment of status, one of the conditions is that you have to be admitted or paroled
Like
into the
enter
United
legally.
States. Right, enter legally or again. or
Maybe we should
parole.
tell them that just in case somebody says to get married.
لا لا، اللي شفته راح موجود
في نقطة مهمة سألتها يعني.
Okay, guys, I have limited
Yeah.
amount of time because I thought we're gonna be done by 6:30, so,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done with the questions. So we will
Okay.
نشوف نقطة جاوب
بس نقطة سألتها إياها إنه
أي شيء سمعتوه جاوب عليه already, so you don't need to repeat it.
نقطة سألتها إياها بلكي حدا فيكم قرر يتزوج ويبقى هون، أو مثلا أنت حتى لو تزوجت ما بتقدر لأنك دخلت، ما حدا عارف إنك دخلت. أما بالنسبة لكم أنتوا لو تزوجتوا مثلا حدا دخل هون عن طريق المطار، دخل بفيزا، تفتش لهم في دائرة الهجرة لما دخل، بيقدر يتزوج يبقى هون إذا تزوج شخص متجنس أمريكي. أما أنتوا إذا قررتوا تتزوجوا بالنهاية لازم ترجع على بلدك وتاخذ فيزا هجرة عن طريق السفارة حتى ترجع على أمريكا بجرين كارد وقانوني، أوكي؟
Even waiver يكونها
waiver.
well, with the waiver, that's when you have to
أو
depart.
حتى لو عبيت على الويفر
So,
حتى
because-
لازم برضه تديروا بالكم يعني. Sorry.
No, that's,
Some of us have been given some buyers when they are released. So how they get rid of this mobile?
I didn't understand, some of them
إيش
were,
How تلفونات نعطانا كيف نتخلصوا منها؟
They were
okay,
given
you were
mobile.
given telephones and how to get rid of them. So, ICE will tell you when they don't want you to check in anymore, when you have to return the phone.
أعطوك
Okay.
تليفون
So you,
نفسه ولا أعطوك رقم تليفون؟
لا التليفون هاي اللي تعملين منه الصورة.
Oh, they were given I've never heard that. They were given a phone to take a picture every
yes,
week.
that's right. That's one of the
okay.
monitoring programs.
Okay.
So they give you a phone, you have to snap a picture.
Okay.
So instead of showing up at the ICE office,
I see.
they just want to make sure you're still present.
بدهم
You
يعرفوا
didn't
إنه
just
أنت ما زلت
disappear
موجود وما
into.
اختفيت شيء.
So again, keep on doing what they told you to do. Take a picture until they tell you
But if
no.
I want to get rid of this mobile, how?
You can't. You
ما
cannot.
تقدرش تخلص
You
منه.
cannot. That's your way to check in with ICE because
لأنه هاي طريقة إنه أنت حتى تقول لأيس أنا ما زلت موجود، أنا عم بحاول أتبع التعليمات، لا تحاول تخلص منه هيك
So
بأي
in
They-
case of travel, if I travel to other states, so what should I do?
If you
Okay.
go to a different city,
usually are you moving permanently or are you
Yeah.
لا أنت رايح زيارة
Okay.
مثلا ولا ناقل على هذيك
if
المدينة.
you're moving permanently you need to notify them. You
المفروض
need to
إنك
get in touch
تخبرهم.
with ICE. Okay, and I have again their website is provided on the first page.
مكتوب العنوان للإيميل عفوا
So because-
والموقع
If you go on that web page, there are actually email addresses to the local offices, whichever one you have to check in.
إذا بتفتح على الموقع في عناوين كل واحد في المدينة اللي أنت فيها فين لازم تروح تكلمهم يعني.
And they're usually pretty good about responding to you.
وبيجاوبوا
So
بسرعة هم.
typically they don't have an issue with you moving, but you have to notify them.
يعني ما عندهم
So-
مشكلة لو أنت قررت تنتقل لمدينة تانية، بس أنت مجبر إنك تخبرهم، لازم تخبرهم.
And you have to notify them of the change of address or the change of phone number, because again, keep in mind that the only way for them to
Yeah.
notify you of anything is through mail.
حتى لأن
So
هم بيتواصلوا معك عن طريق البريد. مهم
سؤالكم.
جدا إذا غيرت عنوانك غيرت
هذا
رقم
عندي سؤال.
هاتفك
زاد
إنك تخبرهم عشان
if I
يتواصلوا معك
if I
لمصلحتك.
have already traveled to another city, to a different city, after applying, so can I get my permit to work from that city, or I will have to wait here until?
No. You can get it at the new address, because anytime when you are completing any type of an application, the first information that the application asks for is your name and your address. your physical address and your mailing address, because
wherever I go, so I will have this mail.
correct,
With
correct.
my
Because,
phone.
and again, your physical address where you live might be different from where you
هلا
want your
لما
mail
انت
to
تعبي
go.
الطلب اول شيء بيطلبك اسمك، عنوان البريد وعنوان السكن. هلا عنوانك البريد ممكن مثلا الشواف عنوانه خلص دائم مش حيتغير، تقول لهم هذا عنوان البريد، حتى لو انتقلت لمدينه ثانيه يبعثوا لك عليه. بس حتى لو انتقلت على مدينه ثانيه لازم تخبر دائره الهجره او محكمه الهجره انه انت انتقلت.
So, and let's say if you already filed an application, anytime when you file an application, you will get a receipt notice, a notice of action from the immigration with the receipt number in the top left-hand corner.
يكون عليها رقم الوصل.
And you can use that receipt number to check the status of certain applications. So if you move and you need to change your address, all you do is go online with the USCIS, if that application is with the USCIS. And the first thing that the system will ask you, do you have any applications or petitions pending? You will answer yes, and then the system will ask you to enter the receipt number, and then the old address, the new address, because there is no way for them to guess that you moved from Louisiana to Florida, for example, right? So whatever address that they have on file for you, whatever you told them initially, this is what they're going to have, and this is where they will send everything, presuming that that is the correct address. So anytime when something changes, when the address changes, all you need to do is just change it in the system with the USCIS, if you have something pending with the USCIS, with the court if you have the court case already pending. So because again, they're not going to guess that you moved somewhere else.
ما حيعرفوا لوحدهم، ما حيتابعوا كل واحد فرديا، فلازم انت تبلغهم وتخبرهم.
انتهيت
هلا القرعة شغلة ثانية، خلينا نخلص من اللجوء.
لا خلي كلكم عنده سؤال، ما عنده سؤال. حيجيك.
انا بدي اسال عن في شغله قالت حد بده يقدم اللجوء اذا كان عنده شهود، والله كان في ضروري كانوا شهود خارج البلد، كيف التعامل مع الشهود؟
خارج الدولة ولا خارج المدينة؟
خارج الدولة.
Well, if he has witnesses that are outside the country and he goes to court, how does he bring them in?
Okay. If you, the best way is to get written statements from those witnesses.
رسالة مكتوبة.
طيب
And
عندي سؤال هنا.
يعني يحق لهم فتح حساب البنك وحساب البنك يقدمون
Banks.
حساب الخروج عنده.
Bank accounts and all that.
لا.
if it's relevant, if it has
It
any
depends. I have an
relevance,
answer for
if it's
this. I know
important
it's
for your
not-
case,
It's not your-
yes. If it's not important for your specific case, then no.
No,
You
it-
need to provide information that
Yeah.
supports what you're stating. What's important, what may
اطرح سؤالك.
convince the judge that this is helpful.
So we have a question here. How can you close your file with immigration, obviously, if you want to move to Canada?
Okay, if you want to move to Canada, first of all, my question would
How
be,
you gonna get- that's what I
how
asked.
would Canada admit you? Because if you present yourself at the Canadian border from the United States, Canadian immigration authorities will turn you back unless you have a visa, because they will tell you you have to apply for asylum in the United States, because that's your safe country, that's where you're coming from, okay? So if by some kind of magical way you do have a Canadian visa or something that allows you to move to Canada, all you have to do is tell that to the immigration judge or talk to the DHS, Department of the Government Attorney, and they will probably agree to close your case. Again, presuming that you can show them that you have, you can move to Canada, you have a right to be there, or you have a legal status here.
طريقة سحرية دخلت على كندا في طريقة انك تغلق الملف. بس اذا انت رحت على حدود كندا قلت لهم انا جاي اقدم لجوء حيقول لك ما انت بامريكا، وامريكا خلاص انت بامان بامريكا جاي تقدم على لجوء عندنا، فحيرجعوك ما حيفوتوك هذا.
في حد عنده سؤال؟
بدكم حد نزل عنده سؤال؟
I got actually a couple of questions because you know I get informations here. Since I came here, I have informations only from people who came by visa. So they have no ideas about our situation. So I thought when we came to the ICE, I thought we are already in the asylum system. That's not right. We have to apply again.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. When you're saying we have to apply again, you have to file an application for asylum specifically. So because again,
So they didn't take an asylum application from them when they
سؤال.
came into the border.
no.
انتوا لما
Unless,
دخلتوا ما اخذوش منكم طلب لجوء،
لا.
ما قدمتوش طلب
No,
لجوء.
no. They call some people from us when we have been at the border. They call a couple of people and they ask them about what they want, why they came to America. But the others they didn't ask. So
it's at the discretion of the border patrol officers.
حسب
Because,
الموظف.
and that's again, that was one of the questions on the list. Why are some people paroled and why some of the people are just let in, given an NTA and told to show up in court. So it's really at the discretion of the immigration officer.
Do you want to say that anyone who didn't file I-589 at any level of this process, he has not applied yet, so he has to do it.
That is
That's
correct.
what you want to
Unless
say.
you are one of those rare recent instances where you had a credible
Yeah,
fear interview
like
and they
the
told
I-94.
you,
إذا قال لك يا
well,
أعطوك
not just the I-94, where again, you were interviewed by the asylum officer at the border, you passed the credible fear interview, you were in expedited removal proceedings already.
هذا اللي بيكون دخل على الحدود، قابل موظف اللجوء، موظف دائرة الهجرة أو الحدود، واقتنع إنه أنت فعلاً عندك خوف من العودة إلى بلدك، فهذا بمشوا لك المعاملة تبعتك بسرعة. طبعاً إلها معاملة مختلفة كلياً عن اللي زيهم دخلوا بدهم يقدموا طلب مع دائرة الهجرة أو مع محكمة الهجرة.
So if
يعني
you have,
مقابلة ثانية بعديها.
so the bottom line is, if you have that notice to appear given to you, if that was issued to you, again, it doesn't matter whether they asked you at the border why you're here or not. So if you were given that NTA, what ultimately is going on is the government wants to send you back home. They're saying you arrived without any documents that allow you to enter the United States. We have to remove you. We have to send you back home. Now tell us why we shouldn't. So, and you're telling them that they should not because you are afraid of something back home.
يعني هاي الرسالة لما دخلت notice to appear NTA إنه هاي ملاحظة إلك حتى تظهر أمام قاضي الهجرة أو قاضي محكمة الهجرة، أوكي؟ وإنه نحن عنا النية إن نسافرك نرجعك على بلدك، احكي لنا ليش ما نسافرك؟ حنعطيك فرصة قدم طلب مشان تقول لنا ليش ما نسافرك؟ ليش نخليك في أمريكا؟ ليش نحميك؟ أوكي؟
في حد عنده سؤال؟
Another question, please.
ما انت في سؤال؟
Okay. What can we do with the A number? I heard the people who came before us. As I said, I think they didn't have the A number, but we have the A number now.
That's impossible. Everybody is issued an A number.
No, if somebody came by visa.
Okay,
yeah.
so no, if somebody came with the visa, and again, it depends on the type of a visa. Most of the people who come as visitors, for example,
Yeah.
they come and most non-immigrant visas, they are for temporary purpose only. A person is not issued an A number in those
اللي
cases.
بيكونوا جايين
So
فيزا سياحة، أغلب
it's a
الناس
different
بيكونوا فيزا
situation.
سياحة.
هذا مختلف عن
هذا ما يعطوهم أي نمبر إلا إذا صار عندهم ملف في دائرة الهجرة.
Okay, that's why I ask. What can we do with the A number? Do we have any?
A number is your alien number for the immigration system only.
بس عشان يعرفوك أنت مين. هذا بس في ملف
Like
الهجرة.
just I can open an account in the bank with
No.
it. I can
No.
apply for a
No.
driver license.
No.
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 okay.
Unfortunately, no. You can apply for a driver's license when you have your employment authorization document. Okay. So in some states, Yeah.
Let's talk about Louisiana.
Yeah.
All right, so with in Louisiana, the simple answer is you have to have an employment authorization.
and social security.
That's good.
Right.
Anyone else who has a question? You want Madam?
So
في سؤال.
let's do one more question and wrap up because I have.
طرح سيرتك أنت عندك سؤال.
Okay. After the NTA and traveling and getting a new address, do I have to wait for the permit? أي إذن؟
إذن المحكمة أنت بالسفر أنا تعطيني السفر ولا بس نعطيهم إشعار ونسافر على طول ونستنى
تسافر على مدينة تانية داخل
داخل
أمريكا.
أمريكا.
Okay. So does he have to wait for the NTA to be issued, or can he, like he's here now, can he travel to Wisconsin, go to Chicago, or does he have to wait for an okay from the court?
Yes.
No, you don't have to get an okay from the court, but you have to get an okay from ICE.
ما
Okay.
بدك موافقة من المحكمة، بدك موافقة من ICE اللي هم إدارة الحدود
ونضطر حتى يبعثوا لي رسالة.
وتنتظر حتى يبعثوا لك رسالة،
وبعدين
وإذا
رسالة.
غيرت عنوانك لازم أنت تبلغهم إنك غيرت العنوان.
And again, it's a very easy thing to do, and typically they are totally fine with it. You just need to notify them that you are
كتير
moving.
سهلة بس
Okay.
أنت لازم تخبرهم يعني. Last question,
Uh-huh.
can he get a like a travel document to
Okay.
travel back and forth?
You can only if you show that there is a necessity to travel.
يعطوك إياها إلا إذا في عندك حاجة اضطرارية إنك تسافر.
Okay, so and it has to be a very important reason why you need to travel, because you are already in removal proceedings. So keep in mind they're trying to send you back home. So if you were not in removal proceedings, my answer would be different. So since you are already in removal proceedings, it's at the discretion of ICE. Okay, so you need to explain what the reason is, and it has to be a very, very, very serious situation why you need to leave the United States, and they should allow you to come back.
يعني لازم يكون سبب جدي، حاجة طارئة، عشان انت
Humanitarian
هلا في اجراءات
basically.
التسفير، هم بدهم يسافروا.
I'm sorry.
It has to be humanitarian basically.
Correct.
فانت
It's-
تقول لهم انا بدي اسافر، طب ما احنا بدنا نخلص منك يعني انت بدك تسافر
All right. So on that note, I'm going to end the session because unfortunately we're running out of time.
Okay, that's fine.
So
عندكم سؤال مازال؟
Final question.
okay, this is the last one.
عندكم سؤال؟ ما تبي سؤال؟
So what should we do now?
I think we just covered it. We just spent over an hour and a
The
half
first step.
talking about it.
يعني شوية الملفات
Apply
يا.
for asylum. That seems right. So why did you come to the U.S.? What is the reason why you?
هذاك السؤال هو سؤال الشهادة. في شو الأسئلة بدك تسألني بعد؟ شو قضية البنوك؟ قضية البنوك. ما عندي هذه البنوك.
بإمكانها النظر على الملفات.
منهم بنك اوف امريكا.
ما يفصل.
هذه البنوك.
لا لا عندهم معليش. بإمكان النظر على الملفات. أن تنظر على الملفات.
يضعوا ملفاتهم.
لا تنظر على الملفات.
هلا
ما في وقت.
ما فيش وقت. They want you to look at their files individually.
I can't. I cannot right now. I cannot right now because this was put in the last minute. I only allocated. I thought it will last an hour.
I can help you from my office. We're not this weekend. I'm going to Dallas for a wedding. Maybe I can have them come scan down, translate whatever they have,
Yeah, that would be.
and just. Okay.
That would be.
I'll get with you.
كلمة أخيرة.
Last word, final word.